Economic policies have failed Nigeria. I want to be able to see the president saying, yes, Africa growth, we have disagreements, but I am elected to uphold the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, not of Africa Charter. We would relate with other countries. The days must be over when we talk of Africa as the centerpiece of our foreign policy, and way to one in which Nigeria and the welfare and the well-being of Nigeria is the central focus of Nigeria foreign policy.
In this 10th National Assembly, one of these vocal persons from the current ruling APC-led government is the senator representing the northern part of Edo State, Adams Oshiomhole. I've talked about him before. Many people has been applauding his ability to hold, the government accountable, even though he's from the same political party with them, which was what Nigerians, experienced during the 16 years of PDP, where there was no any form of opposition. And that was the reason why the country was moving smoothly, unlike the last 9 years of APC reign, which we have seen a lot of disastrous behavior. However, the senator talking about the issues bordering the advices and the policy making by the current administration, the pressure on the president Bola Ahmed Tinubu to reverse some of his decisions and policy is growing every now and then. We have seen that the fuel subsidy removal is not helping matter, and we saw that Q have already returned back. We have seen all manner of loans collected by this administration within the last 1 year, and we have not seen what they are using this money for. We have seen the construction of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway in the midst of the hunger in the land, among many other issues, but which was criticized by Nigerians, but the government seems not to care. Now, the senator is saying that the advices, all the advice given to you by the I.M.F and the World Bank are not actually working, and it is high time we let go of those advice given to us by the I.M.F and the World Bank. Looking at the fact that the people from the Europe, the Asian country, the Chinese and the rest, you will understand that they all attend these I.M.F meetings and conferences. But whenever they get back to their country, what they do mostly is that they look at how they can implement those advice given to them that will suit their own people. That is the reason why they call it a piece of advice. When it's being given to you, it is left for you, because you're not a donkey, to think properly on how to utilize that advice that will benefit you maximally. But then when you come to Nigeria, our leaders will just package, just garbage in, garbage out. And at the end of the day, you see that they begin to stammer. You look at the Minister of Economy, the CBN governor, the rest, they begin to run helter-skelter, looking for shelter that is not missing. But then, let's watch what the distinguished Senator Adams Oshiomhole have for us.
Real economic policies have failed Nigeria. I want to be able to see the president saying, yes, Africa growth, we have disagreements, but I am elected to uphold the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, not of Africa Charter. We would relate with other countries. The days must be over when we talk of Africa as the centerpiece of our foreign policy, and way to one in which Nigeria and the welfare and the well-being of Nigeria is the central focus of Nigeria foreign policy. If it is not good for Nigeria, we will do it. How can you subscribe to something that you cannot participate in? How can you have a free market where you only buy or you have nothing to sell? And the only thing we have to sell is crude. And that crude is not determined competitively. It is determined by some forces in the West, whether the president of US is sick, or whether the publish of data, it shows that economy is slowing down, that affects the price of oil, whether China is growing or China is slowing down, and all of that. And so the result is that today, we are importers from the lowest second-hand. We started borrowing. And to encourage us to borrow more, economists tell us about how much you can borrow in relation to GDP. They always have some statistics as if this were in the holy documents. And so we borrowed to a point that they now came back to say, you have overborrowed. And for us to support you, you must devalue your currency. You must float it. Just subsidize consumption. And when you devalue, your home goods and services produced at home will be cheaper, and therefore you have greater export opportunities. Because Nigeria made goods, we find cheaper prices overseas, and foreign goods will be too expensive for the natives to buy, since we are now in our native land. And because they can't buy, we've got to have a more realistic balance of trade. And that is how around 1978 or so, the naira was devalued from where it was 1 naira to 1.5 US dollars.
So in all of this, do you think that Adams Oshiomhole is right with the current administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who took over power with the loan of the debt rate of Nigeria at over 85 trillion, but has been able to add or increase it to 110 trillion, meaning that your unborn children are owing the Chinese, the World Bank, and the I.M.F. And the funny thing about this whole thing is that they have a lot of dangerous clauses to some of these loans given. Like we have the Oshiomhole loan, of which Nigerians has been calling on the government to step aside that particular agreement in order for peace to reign, as we are, a moral state, and we cannot afford to be controlled by some organization in the world.